Hello everyone, today we will talk about Willow pattern plate. And if we want to understand Willow pattern plate, we must start with Chinese blue and white porcelain. So, pottery dating from 20,000 years ago was found in China, painted jar of the Majayao cultural late Neolithic period. So, painted pottery pot with raised relief of dragons and phoenix, Western Han Dynasty, and a Sancai glazed offering Qing, late 7th or early 8th century, Tang Dynasty, and the early Chinese blue and white porcelain in the Yuan Dynasty, Jingdezhen ware. So now let's look at a video of guide to the symbolism of Chinese ceramic decoration.
These are all imperial pieces made mostly during the 18th century for the Qianlong Emperor's court. He was really one of the most revered emperors in China's artistic history, and many new innovations and fantastic pieces of art were made during his reign. Throughout Chinese history, there has always been a great deal of symbolism in its artwork, and a lot of it is to do with homophones in the Chinese language. For example, the word for bat in Chinese is fu, and it's the same sound as the word which means good luck and fortune. These kind of links really are very playful in Chinese art. On this beautiful moon flask, we can see peony. We also have magnolia and we have crab apples. These three flowers form a rebus in Chinese, which is a saying that goes yu tang fu gui, and it means in English, may your noble house be blessed with wealth and honor. The dragon and phoenix are actually representative of the emperor and empress, and in that context, sometimes the dragon and phoenix motif would be representative of imperial marriage. This very colourful border here to the neck, this is representative of silk banners that would have been used in Tibetan Buddhist temples. This piece is actually dated to the Jiaqing reign, which is just after the Qianlong Emperor. We can see here we have some peaches, which represent longevity. We also have the swastika symbol here, which is another Buddhist symbol, and it's actually a homophone in Chinese for the word wan, which means 10,000 or abundance. This piece is actually from the Yongzheng reign, who was the emperor who preceded Qianlong. Again, we have many symbols seen here. So you have double gourds, which are representative of fertility, and you have a matching cover, which is decorated with 4 roundels containing the character fu, which means good luck and good fortune and general happiness. The boys represented on this vase are a symbol for many sons and grandsons and prosperity for the whole family. It's very kind of playful and skillfully done on such a small scale. It's fascinating to see how symbolism was such an integral part of imperial works of art from the Qing dynasty, and also how the advancements in technology at that time enabled the potters of the time to be able to depict these symbols in a very vibrant way.
Okay, through this video we can know that the patterns on porcelain usually include dragons, phoenix, or the character fu, or peony, or peaches, etc., which means good luck, happiness, or good fortune. So today we talk about blue and white porcelain, which is a kind of classical porcelain. The main colors are blue and white. That is, blue patterns are painted on white plates. So let's appreciate the traditional patterns. Okay, the blue and white porcelain is a work of art. Do you know how the blue pattern with Chinese characteristic is drawn? Let's take a look. So then, explain. Okay, yes, this blue and white work is very beautiful. So blue and white ceramics have always been very attractive. So what about blue and white porcelain in other countries? Let's take a look. These are blue and white porcelain from UK. These are white and blue porcelain from France. These are blue and white porcelain from Netherlands. These are blue and white porcelain from Germany. These are blue and white porcelain from Japan. So do you know how blue and white porcelain is produced? Let's take a look at how a special blue and white porcelain Linglong bowl is produced.
The next time you're out getting Chinese food, pay close attention to what's on the table. This style of tableware, called Linglong porcelain, was extremely popular in the West in the 70s and 80s. And they all come from this town in Germany.
我们市场从60年建厂以来，做到96年就正在解体。解体后全部都是用小作坊组织起来。
Before economic reform, factories in China were all state-owned. The 1990s marked the beginning of large-scale privatization, and the Guangming porcelain factory was no exception.
国民市场一直就是做青花玲珑。我到景德镇做青花玲珑的时候，有36家作坊在做。 现在就是一家，主要是我一家做这个青花玲珑传统。我的日产量一天12000件。
Linglong means exquisite in Chinese, and their trademark design is this translucent rice grain pattern.
我们这个光明市场啊，就是全国、全世界也可以说是唯一一家生产这个玲珑瓷的这个专业厂家。
Here's how it's made.
用泥土4吨，一年1500吨左右。
The clay is put into a mold, punched, and then glazed. It's then set, dried, and trimmed. And then it's washed, painted, and stamped with cobalt, which gives the product its iconic blue color. It's then off to the kilns, where they're fired in these boxes called sagger, a clay chamber that ensures the product is heated evenly throughout.
调整时间是26个小时，它烧出来的设计是白里泛青。
But while these bowls were once ubiquitous, Liu predicts they will soon be a relic of the past.
混在10年，这个碗就基本上就没有了。这个手工现在是没人学习，因为这个学习，比如说这个打这个窟，印这个花，要8年才可以上手。做此类商业，应该还是要机械化。有机械化做些东西就基本上就传承的东西就慢慢少了，就少了。
Okay, so we can see that the traditional handicraft of drawing blue patterns is very valuable. Yes, so today our main task is to understand the blue and white porcelain with willow pattern. It became popular in England at the end of the 18th century when it was developed by British ceramic artists. So this pattern was inspired by popular hand-painted blue and white porcelain imported from China. The willow pattern often peaks, oriental landscapes. So in the Industrial Revolution meant for the first time it was possible to mass produce the fine china, porcelains, particularly around Stoke-on-Trent in Staffordshire, produced a wide range of ceramics, and willow pattern became so common that it is possible to find lots of blue and white porcelain in almost any back garden in the UK. So next time you are gardening, keep an eye out. Perhaps you will find a piece of willow pattern pottery. So now there are three children, Nadine, Biff, and Chip. They found a willow pattern plate and had an adventure. They discovered the story behind the willow pattern plate. This story is related to the willow pattern. Let's go on an adventure with the three of them.
The Willow Pattern Plot. Biff and Chip were at a car boot sale. They saw Nadine. "Nadine, over here!" called Biff. Nadine ran to see them. He had bought something at the sale. It was a blue and white plate. He showed it to Biff and Chip. "It's a present for my mum," said Nadine. "It's a willow pattern plate. My mum collects them." "Why is it called a willow pattern plate?" asked Chip. "I don't know," said Nadine, "but I think the pattern tells a story." "I wonder what the story is," said Biff. Mum and Dad looked at Nadine's plate. "It's a present for my mum," said Nadine. Biff asked if Nadine could come and play. So Nadine went to play with Biff and Chip. They went up to Biff's bedroom. "What shall we play?" asked Nadine. "I don't know," said Biff. Suddenly, the key began to glow. The magic took the children into a new adventure. "What's happening?" called Nadine. "Help!" said Biff. "Everything is going blue." "What a strange place," said Chip. "What strange trees." "Everything looks blue and white," said Nadine. "We're in the land of the willow pattern." They were in a big garden. It had a high wall all round it, and blue trees grew everywhere. "I can see water," said Biff. "Is the garden next to the sea?" "No, it's next to a lake," said Nadine. "There's a bridge," said Biff. "It's like the one on the plate." "I can see a little house down by the water," said Chip. Down by the lake they saw a girl. She was all alone. "She looks unhappy," said Biff. "Why is she all alone? And why is she crying?" The girl was called Kim Shi. She lived in the little house by the lake. She had a cruel father. He would not let her go out of the garden. Kim loved a boy called Chang. She wanted to marry him, but Chang was too poor. Kim's father wanted her to marry a rich man, but Kim loved Chang. Kim Shi heard Chang calling. "Kim Shi," he called, "are you alone?" "Chang," said Kim, "how did you get here?" "I swam across the lake," said Chang. "Nobody saw me." "Oh," said Kim, "you are cold and wet." "It does not matter," said Chang, but Kim Shi was afraid. "You must go away," she said. "My father must not see you here." "This garden is like a prison," said Chang. "Your father never lets you go out." "But what can we do?" asked Kim. "We must run away," said Chang. "Then I can marry you." "But how can I leave the garden?" asked Kim. "There are guards everywhere." "Don't worry," said Chang. "I will think of something." Kim heard the sound of a twig snapping. "Someone is watching us," she gasped. Chang jumped to his feet. He held up a stick. "Who is there?" he called. Then they saw Biff, Chip, and Nadim. "Don't be afraid," said Biff. "We are friends." "We have never seen children like you before," gasped Chang. "How did you get into this garden?" "We didn't mean to listen," said Chip, "but we heard what you were saying." "We know you want to run away," said Biff. "But how can we?" asked Kim. "There are guards all round the garden." Nadim had a good idea. He told them what it was. "It's a brilliant idea," said Chip. "I'm sure it will work," said Biff. "But what if we are caught?" asked Chang. "Do you have a better idea?" asked Biff. "No," said Chang. "It is our only chance." "First, you must hide," said Nadim. "Then be ready to run over the bridge," said Chip. "Now we must get ready," said Nadim. Kim had a long sash round her waist. "Give me your sash, Kim," said Biff. Kim gave Biff her sash. Biff tied Kim's sash to the bridge. There were lemon trees in the garden. Nadim and Chip climbed into one. They picked as many lemons as they could. Then they waited. Kim and Chang hid by the bridge. Biff held on to the end of the sash. "I hope Nadim's idea works," she thought. Nadim called from the tree. "Willow pattern plot, begin," he said. Chip and Nadim began to shout at the guards. "Come and get us," they yelled. "We're over here." The guards ran into the garden. They ran towards Kim Shi's little house. Now that the guards were in the garden, Kim Shi and Chang could escape. Someone else ran into the garden. "My father is coming," gasped Kim Shi. Kim and Chang began to run, but the guards saw them. "Stop them!" shouted Kim Shi's father. Nadim and Chip threw the lemons at the guards. Chang and Kim Shi ran over the bridge. The guards chased after them. Biff got ready. "I hope Kim's sash is strong," she said. The guards ran onto the bridge. Biff pulled the sash tight. The guards tripped over it. They fell over with a crash. "You fools!" shouted Kim Shi's father. Chip and Nadim climbed down from the lemon tree. They ran across to find Biff. Kim Shi's father saw them. "Catch those children!" he yelled. "Well done, Biff," said Chip. "Kim and Chang have got away." "I hope we get away too," said Biff. The magic key was glowing. "Hooray! It's time to go," she said. "What an adventure," said Chip. Nadim picked up his plate and looked at it. "I wonder what happened in the real Willow pattern story," he said.
Okay, guys. So, do you wonder what happened in real Willow pattern story? Yeah, this Willow pattern comes from a love story. Through the fantasy journey of the three children, we saw the word of Willow pattern. Actually, the name of this story is the Fable of Two Doves. In ancient China, during the days of the emperors, there lived a wealthy mandarin. He had a beautiful daughter whose name was Kim Shi. In the mandarin service was an accounting assistant named Chang. He and Kim Shi were very much in love. However, as she was the daughter of a wealthy official and he was only a humble assistant, so the pair were forbidden to marry. The mandarin was furious when he discovered that his daughter had fallen in love with a mere clerk. He dismissed Chang and ordered that a high fence should be built around his palace to keep the lovers apart. The mandarin then arranged a marriage between Kim Shi and a powerful duke. Kim Shi didn't love the duke, but he arrived anyway to claim his bride and brought with him a box of jewels as a gift. Unwillingly, Kim Shi agreed. So she and the duke were to be married. On the day the first blossom fell from the willow tree, on the eve of the wedding, Chang, disguised as a servant, slipped into the palace to find his love. Kim Shi was delighted, and the two decided to escape with the duke's jewels. But before they could get far, however, the alarm was raised. The mandarin, flying into a range, chased after the young couple, whip in hand. But he was not fast enough. Chang and Kim Shi escaped on board the duke's ship and fled to the safety of a secluded island. So the couple, safe together, lived on Light Island for many years, until one day the Duke learned of their refuge. Hungry with revenge, the Duke sent his soldiers to the island, who captured the lovers and put them to death. From high in the heavens, the gods looked down on the unhappy lovers. They were so moved that they transferred Kim Shi and Chang into a pair of doves, so that the pair could fly together forever. So although inspired by Chinese imagery, the fable often associated with willow pattern does not in fact originate in ancient China. The story was invented by an English potter named Thomas Minton from Stoke-on-Trent in order to promote the sale of his pottery. So our task is to learn to make willow pattern plate. A white plate and blue paint are needed to make a willow pattern plate. So we need to know what patterns are on the willow patterns plate. The patterns we can see are willow trees, pavilion, a bridge, people on the bridge, dolls, a boat, islands, fences, flowers, and grass. So there are beautiful patterns around the plate. Everything has a Chinese style. So first, we need to design our own willow pattern plate on paper. Then we draw the willow patterns on the paper plate, complete the design of the entire willow pattern plate. Last, we draw willow pattern on real plates to make real willow pattern plates. So we pay attention to some details when painting. So these things have Chinese characteristics such as this pavilion. The door is arched. So every corner of the roof rose up. So the boat and the small bridge are also very Chinese. So grasp these characteristics to draw. So we need to design our own willow pattern plate. The plate may not be big enough to paint everything. It doesn't matter. You can choose representative things you like, such as painting only willows, 2 dolls, or painting pavilion, boat, people, and the willows, and so on. So everyone, please design your own willow pattern. Now let's take a look at the willow pattern plate of other kids. So I wish you all the best. Okay, let's do it together. So this class is here. See you next class. Bye.